नारायणेन स्वयं सेन कृता पुराणम् मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी.
Yes. As we start a special pramana.
We have to start at a special pramana.
Yeah.
A special pramana, a special vritti, akanda akara vritti.
Anyway, before we start, I just want to just brief this. In the sense, the uniqueness of ignorance of Atmas is being explained. Why? Why, if it is Arjuna's question is, how come? Why we are not able to? So the Maya part of it has been discussed, and he has said that we know. It's not that we don't know. We don't know it correctly. Mom, abhi na janati. In the sense, we don't know how correctly. And Yoga Maya is not creating any problem. The Shakti which the Sattva, Rajo, Dana, Tamo, Guna mixture is the Jagat. The Yoga Maya is not the problem because we are aware of our own Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna and all that. So we are conscious. It's not that we are not conscious. The consciousness is not totally obliterated in our lives, especially human lives. So Swami has always knew that the essence of Gita classes also Swamiji had mentioned. The main problem is we have this self-consciousness and self-judging is our capital for human life, and so we are very much conscious, and compared to the animals and all that, they are only species conscious. We are very much conscious, independently conscious we are very much, and that is why, that is the reason why we are not satisfied. In the sense, we are so conscious, even when somebody is sitting in the audience, he will be very comfortable and all that but the moment he is called to talk on the stage, then he becomes very conscious. Then he becomes nervous and all that, whatever he wanted to say also sometimes he doesn't say. So all that, because he is very conscious of his person and his personality and its limitations and all that, which we are not comfortable. We are conscious and we are self-judging. Since we have got a body, mind, senses and all its limitations, plus, minus and all that, we keep pampering, and we find that no, we are not comfortable. In spite of all the best suit, boot and all that, the suit booted person is more uncomfortable compared to a dhoti person. Because we are so much conscious of all those things. So it's a double-edged sword. We are conscious, self-conscious and self-judging. So the thing is that it is not that we are not totally knowing. We don't know it correctly, what it is all about. Why, when I am self-conscious and I am conscious of my body, mind and senses, how come I understand? How come I think that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the senses, I am the name, I am the form and all that? When I am what I am conscious of, if I am conscious of the book, I know very well that I am not the book. The same way, I am conscious of my body, mind, but I take myself to be the body, mind. Now, where is this fallacy comes into our life? That question is never asked. We take it for granted because we don't know what is the reality. We think that we are our body, mind and senses right from childhood. Everyone gives a name, fame and all that. We all grow like that. And one more thing, it's my own thinking. It is not there. I have not seen it anywhere else. See, my thinking is, when we move away from an animal life, a human life, it's a great breakthrough in terms of evolution. So, when we get to know that we are very conscious and anything and everything I can do, my body, I can learn so many things, I can do so many things which the animals are not able to do, I am able to be very overpowering about them and all that. So, suddenly when we find that, suddenly like a Pudu Mappillai, we find that we are endowed with so much of faculty and we take it for granted. And we start, misusing it. In the first 1 or 2 births, 3 births, human being, he misuses and all his powers and in terms of accumulating, in terms of greed, etc., etc. Only after perhaps a few births and perhaps some propitiation with Ishvara and all that, some Ishvara's grace, we understand, my God, this sort of acquisition and greed and enjoyment, boga only leads to roga and all, we come to know later. And then we start, what it is all about, why? Then we ask this sort of a question, then we come to Gita, then we say what it is all about. Then only when we get really exposed, we started looking inward, antarmukhi bhava, whatever with the baha and mukha, we have whatever you have enjoyed, it is not really adding value, it's only making us more insecure. Then there should be something else. I am very conscious and I want to be a Purana person, satisfied person, it is not available outside. Then what is it? Then perhaps because of Vishwa's grace, we come to Gita, we come to a Guru and all that. Then he says, antarmukhi bhava, start looking at yourself, what it is all about, have a relook at life. That is how we are getting into this. So, the thing is that it is not that we are totally like, the sense, as I was telling the other day, instead of being aparoksha samsari, we are aparoksha samsari. In the sense, we are very much conscious as the being, but as a samsari, we are totally identify ourselves with our body, mind and senses. And that is why we are not satisfied, because we are not that. As simple as that. Body, mind, senses are given to us. They are not us. They are only given, they are only instruments. So how can you identify yourself with the instrument and feel happy or satisfied with it? It's not possible. So that means unless you disidentify yourself with your body, mind and senses and have a relook through the pramana, through the guru, through the acharya, upadesha and all that, you are not. And once you get that knack of it, that automatically that ignorance goes. Once the ignorance goes, you are to your true self. You don't have to create anything. You are to your true self. That is the awareful being, which is aware of all these things. Those things, that is part of the discussion, part of the understanding, you will be getting it. That is what is mentioned as akanda akara vritti here. Let us read now. Yeah.
Any vritti leading to knowledge can be produced only by a pramana, means of knowledge. To generate a vritti that will remove self-ignorance, your known means of knowledge, perception and inference will not work because they reveal only objects. Only Shabda Pramana can create the vritti that destroys ignorance of the subject, Atma. Atma is not created by the Pramana. It is because of Atma that the Pramanas can even be operated. It is the vritti that is created. And the Shastra is the Pramana which can create this new knowledge, vritti jnana, by a sentence that reveals the truth of the knower. This sentence, Mahavakya, creates a vritti that removes ignorance of the nature of the knower. This vritti is the Akanda Akara vritti. And Akanda Akara vritti means that between the object of knowledge and the knower, there is no difference. What is common between Ishvara and Jiva is Akanda, limitlessness. After negating the differences, Shastra says, Tat Tvam Asi, that Ishvara is you. This creates a vritti that brings about the understanding that the meaning of the word you and the meaning of the word Ishvara are the same. What abides as the basis of everything, Jiva and Ishvara, is one consciousness. This particular recognition, brought about by the vritti, takes place in the mind, destroyed ignorance of the fact that Atma is Akanda, limitless. Before that, the knower is covered by the Yoga Maya and therefore does not recognize its limitlessness. When the mind is under the spell of the gunas and their products, there is no possibility of this vritti jnana, Aham Brahma Asmi, I am Brahman. Hence the Lord says, being covered by Yoga Maya, naturally, people are deluded and do not recognize me. Mudaha means muda, full. Mudaha, I am Mam, na Abhijanati. what is not known. Swamiji, actually I have a question here. Why is it that we are created with a sense of not knowing the truth?
Yeah, it is not. See, the problem is, that is what Swamiji always used to say. You can never ask, why ignorance? You can never ask that. You see, like for example, if somebody asks you, why you don't know French? You will not, you will laugh at that question. Because you say, I don't know. Why I don't know means what? I have not chosen to know, that's all. The same way, that is what I had told in one of the things, like every one of us, human beings, all born with a clean slate. The buddhi is clean, but it has got the faculty of knowing. Anything under the sun we can know, including Atma Jnana, your own, the Swarupa of you. So unless you choose to know, like Mundaka Upanishad says, Vrunute, Vivrunute, unless you choose to know and choose to know your real nature exclusively, you will not know. So, Vrunute means, I think, I don't know whether I told you, Vrun means, Vrun Dhatu has got all these things, Varam, Varenyam, Ishvara. So, we are happy to get Varam for our son and daughter. We are happy to ask for Varam. Even when we, as I was telling that, even when we go to Manmohan Singh, we will ask for Pustika. Like when we go to Bhagavan, we will ask for BMW, Varam. We know how to ask. That is why, since we don't know what to ask, that the Chamakam says, it lists a whole lot of things, what all you should ask when you meet Bhagavan. It lists it out, so that you don't forget anything. After the Rudram, Chamakam is there, no? Chamakam is the entire list of what are your blessings. What blessings you can ask Bhagavan. Okay? So we are very expert in asking for Varam. Expert in asking for Varam, expert in going to Ishvara, and Ishvara means what? Varach Pratyaya, anything and everything he can give. Shiva is so weak, if Bhasmasura asks for, if I touch somebody, he should die, even that Varam he will give, will run away. And Vishnu has to come and help him in doing Mogani Avataram. So, Vara, Ishvara is very happy to give Vara. And Varenyam, every day, 3 times we are doing Sandhya Vandanam, Tadvarenyam, Varenyam, Varenyam. But what is needed to ask, we don't ask. That is why Mundaka Upanishad says, Vrunute. Vrunute, you have to ask. I want to know myself. Because I am not satisfied with what I am having. Right from name, fame, money, everything I have. But I am not satisfied. Today I am okay, tomorrow I am not okay. Then what is it? That you have to ask. Vrunute. Vrunute means you have to ask. Vavvrunute, very clearly you should ask. For that only we are equipping our mind and our internal infrastructure, making it very clear in our mind what is it all about. And we get a very relative, we develop a Antakarna Shuddhi, a relatively peaceful mind, where we develop a value for peace, the Shanti, Samadhanam. Samadhanam is not just sitting in meditation and 10 minutes. No, I want that Samadhanam all the time obtaining in me. That is what I was telling, Apramatta, the alertness, the Samadhanam. That why? That in that Samadhana Buddhi only will ask, what is my real nature? And that is what is this Akanda Akara Vritti is talking about. Akanda Akara Vritti means what? There is no Vritti as such. There is no real, Akandam means there is no space between me and Ishvara. My own real self and the being, which I have been telling in the first 6 chapters, Desa Kala Vastu Aparichinnam, the abharful being, and me is my reality. And it has no limitation. Not limited by time, not limited by space, and it is not even an object, it is being. And that being is what I am happy with. That I am happy with my being, even that is not known. Whenever I am getting something, for that moment, that lack of that something is gone out of my mind. I am at peace with myself. So we are happy. But we think that by acquiring something, I have become happy. Then for some time it is there and then it vanishes. Then you have to acquire something else. Then you have to acquire something else. This is what you have been doing whole life. Why? We don't want to lack anything. That is our objective. That we don't want to lack anything, we try to fulfill by acquiring 1, 2, 3, 4 throughout our life. But that we don't lack anything is our reality which we have not chosen to know. Unless you choose to know, you will not get to know. That is what this internal infrastructure is all about. The whole Swamiji talks right from beginning, you are self-conscious, you are self-judging. Means what? That uninhibited consciousness is your reality. Anything that inhibits you don't like. Because, your nature, see generally anyone, if your limited nature is your, if suppose your body is your nature, then you should be happy with it. But you are not. That means what? It is not your nature. So what is your nature? That inquiry has to begin. That nature, once you start, what is my Swarupa? The inquiry, the answer is available already. It is already there. You are already a conscious being having all these things, body, mind, senses, etc., etc. Then who is having that? The conscious being. And that you have to know. That's all. Know means what? You have to ask the question and this answer will come through the Shastra, Acharya, Upadesha. You don't have to do anything. You just have to know. Whereas in every other thing, BMW, even if you know, you have to acquire it. Knowing is not enough. Whereas in this particular age, just knowing is enough. That you are a conscious being. Unlimited, not limited by Desa, Kala and object. That being is you are. And everything else comes and goes. That is called Akhanda Karana. That is what. So, the question of why I don't know means you have chosen not to know. That's all. There is no other reason. Ignorance only goes, it doesn't come. They are all born with ignorance, clean slate. Right from eating, how to take your hand to your mouth also, children have to be taught. We have to take. So even that much we don't know. Whereas a cow is not like that. It knows exactly where to run for its milk. Because they are all programmed. For you, you have been given a clean slate. Why? Because you should not be given the burden of all the samskara of all the previous births. Because you are the highly evolved being. If you get the samskara of all your previous births as soon as you are born, you will go mad. So Bhagavan has blessed us with a clean slate. That's why I have said that Apohanancha is a blessing. That you don't remember is a blessing. So that for the time being you can suspend the whole thing and learn. So you have to choose to know. There is no other reason why you don't know means you have not chosen to know. You got the faculty. You just have to know. That's all. You have to ask the question. And for that you must have the vivekam. Nityam anitya vastu viveka. Everything else is anitya. Whatever I have been acquiring throughout my life is anitya. It keeps changing. And I cannot complain that it is changing because changing is its nature. If you want changeless, don't ask for changing. What is changeless? Find out. And that is there. You are changeless. You are the only changeless. Ishwaroham. The whole prapancha, you are the only changeless. And you have to know, you have to ask. And then the Shastra, Pramana is outside Pramana because all our Pancha Pramana and inference, Arthapati, all our intelligence have been projected outside, or all the worldly vishayas, worldly things. That the Pramana is not going to help. So you need a sixth Pramana. And that is in terms of only words, because there is no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to apply and get something. So only words are enough. And the words have to come from a person who has already has that understanding, the Guru. Because he got it from his Guru. He got it finally from Dakshinamurti. So he has got Mauna Vyakya. He got it. And he kept on passing on through the generation. Now it has come to you through your Guru. Just ask and he will tell, and we have the ready with the infrastructure to own it up. And then you don't say, no, I will have this also, I will go outside and have that also. It doesn't work. You have to exclusively know Vibhurunate, and everything else you can do. Vyavahara you can still do. Not to fulfill, not to hunt for happiness, actively hunt. You be kutastam, very thorough. I am this Purnam Brahma. And everything else I do just Loka Shankarartham for helping people around or playing my role wherever I am. That clarity should be there. That is what we are trying to get into. Yeah.
What is not known? Bhagavan says, does not know me properly. Who is that me? It is Aja, the unborn self. Certain things are not born, but they die. Ignorance. It cannot have a beginning. Shant,
Something is your volume. Is it okay?
something is echoing.
Whatever he says, it echoes.
It cannot have a beginning. If it began, something must have been
My
there.
speaker is okay. I don't have a problem.
Okay.
If it began, something must have been there before it came into existence. Something that is opposed to ignorance must have been present before it. It can only be knowledge. Where there is no darkness, there is necessarily light. Similarly, where there is no ignorance, there is necessarily knowledge. But if knowledge was there, how could ignorance come about? Therefore, we understand that ignorance has no beginning. Can we also say it has no end? No. Ignorance of Atma or anything else has no beginning, but it ends when we know what it is. Atma also cannot have a beginning. If it came into existence at a given time, you must have been there to note it. Otherwise, how do you know that it was born? If you are there to observe the birth of Atma, you have to be a conscious being. But that is Atma. Atma cannot simultaneously exist and observe the termination of its own non-existence. And when Atma does exist, there is no possibility of it having had a non-existence and a subsequent birth. Therefore, Atma has to be Aja, unborn. Atma is thus beginningless, but unlike ignorance, it is endless. It is Avyaya. It does not change. Na vyeti iti avyayam. It has no decline, no destruction. Krishna says, they do not know me as the one who is not born and is never destroyed, the one who is eternal. Is Bhagavan also covered by Yoga Maya? Shankara raises a question here. If Bhagavan cannot be known properly by all beings because he is covered by Yoga Maya, then is his nature also not covered to himself by Yoga Maya? After all, that Yoga Maya is his Maya. Without it, he cannot function. Maybe he is also covered by it and he does not know himself. Shankara refutes this argument. He says that the difference lies in the fact that Ishvara is the Mayavi, the one who wields Maya, and Yoga Maya is his Upadhi. All three gunas of Yoga Maya are glories for him. They do not bind or obstruct him in any way. The ancient Indian Mayavi, as reported even in Shankara's Bhashya, is a type of magician who creates a spell. His magic is not simply a sleight of hand. He makes you see things that he apparently produces and then makes them disappear again. Everybody else is under the spell, but the Mayavi is not. If he were, there would be no magic. Similarly, Ishvara with his Maya is the greatest magician. He creates the entire names and forms which, if analyzed, do not exist at all. All that is there is consciousness. But still the names and forms appear. This is the magic. Therefore, Ishvara is a magician alright, but he does not come under the spell of his magic. All the jivas, however, are very much under the spell. To break it, what should you do? Just as you go to the local Mayavi and ask him what the trick is, you must seek the Mayavi, Parameshwara. You will find out what the truth of this Maya is and who this Mayavi is. This is what the Shastra does. It tells us who this Mayavi is and what this Maya is. It's like a magic book that reveals the secret of what looked like a great trick. You expected to discover something miraculous and complicated. When it is explained, it looks so simple. You feel foolish. It is the same thing here. Once you know, every seeking seems foolish. That I was seeking is itself foolish.
That I was seeking is itself foolish. Yeah.
To know this, you go to the Mayavi and ask him to explain what it's all about. This is what the Lord explains in the Gita. Ishvara, the Mayavi, is not affected his Maya. There is a difference between Jiva and Ishvara, which
I am just a seeker.
I didn't get you.
Ishvara is not known. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Arjuna, O Arjuna, samatitani bhutani, all things / beings that have gone before, vartamanani cha, and all that exist now, bhavishyani cha, and those that will exist in the future, aham veda, I know, too, but na kaschana, no one, mam veda, knows me. Arjuna, I know all beings that have gone before, that exist now, and that will exist in the future, but no one knows me. The Lord says, I, however, know not only myself, but also what had gone before, samatitani. Atitani is what had gone before, and the prefix sam makes it each and everything that had gone before.
Sam means samyak. Samyak means total. Yeah.
Samyak. Bhutani means all beings. And also Arjuna, things that are existent now, vartamanani cha, and the beings that are going to be born in different forms, bhavishyani cha, I know, aham veda. Mam tu veda na kaschana, but there is no one who knows me, says Bhagavan. To that Shankara adds here, no one knows the Lord except that one person who has reached the Lord's refuge, who seeks the Lord as his most intimate self, Pratyagatma. There has to be at least one such person, otherwise the Shastra would be useless. In any theology, Ishvara is accepted as the efficient cause, the author of the entire world, and the creation in most theologies is looked upon as real. This is the problem. Certain theologies confound this further by claiming that Ishvara has created this world, which is real, out of nothing. That something has come out of nothing is not intelligible. A variation on this is that Ishvara has created the world out of his power. Not only has he created the world, he has created each individual, everybody, every mind and every soul. Among the theologies that hold this view, some contend that only human beings have a soul. Animals and other creatures do not, which is why even a very religious person will have no qualms about killing animals and eating meat. His theology tells him that they have no souls and are meant for food. Thus, each human being has a soul, and each soul has to seek God because God loves him. First, he creates me, condemns me to this body with its problems, creates many difficulties for me, and then asks me to believe that he loves me because he is my father. If he loves me, why should he create all these irritants, some of which are not even visible? At least if I can see them, I can deal with them. But it is not so. I innocently breathe in because I was made that way and inhale all sorts of germs. Then when I breathe out, the germs remain inside and cause disease in me. And I am told he loves me. When this is so, every individual has to seek the mercy of Ishvara through a mediator, of course, because he is a sinner. This is an erroneous conclusion, and as long as it is there is no way Ishvara can be known. He is, by the very definition, Nitya Paroksha, eternally remote. If Ishvara is other than me, I have to assign a place for him somewhere in this creation. Suppose he is in heaven and I go there and get very near to him. After all, he must have a body of his own Atma, mind, senses and so on. No matter how near I am, I'll only see that he has a body and he is right in front of me, yet paraksha. I will not know the truth of Ishvara. Even though I am standing before Ishvara and saying that he is all knowledge and so on, with my limited knowledge, how am I going to understand that? I will know only as much as my limited understanding will allow. How am I going to understand omniscience? It can never be understood by an alpajna, someone with limited knowledge. All knowledge will remain only with the one who is all-knowing. Every contention of this sort was covered by Bhagavan himself in the simple statement, Avyaktam Mam Vyaktim Apannam Manyante Abuddhayaha. Abuddhayaha.
Buddhaya means one without a buddhi. Yeah.
Abuddhayaha. Those who lack discrimination consider me, the one who is unmanifest, as one endowed with a particular form. Say so they do not know me. Gita 7th chapter 24th verse.
Just before only, we have just read that. Yeah.
This is what Shankara is talking about here, the absence of knowledge of the truth of Ishvara. Because of that, all these beliefs arise.
So, but Swamiji explains all the theology, the fallacies in the theologies. As we read it, we can see the fallacy. That is why he has just mentioned it. Yeah.
The truth of Ishvara. The truth is, Ishvara is consciousness, Brahman, conditioned by Maya, Maya avachinna Chaitanya. Maya is the upadhi for Brahman. At this point, one may ask as to what is the difference between Ishvara, which is Brahman conditioned by Maya upadhi, and Brahman. Maya does not exist apart from Brahman. It depends upon it entirely. Being Mithya, Maya's reality is Brahman, so Maya is also Ishvara. And Ishvara is nothing but Brahman. The Shruti points out, and my own experience confirms the same. When I look at this world, I find any given thing is nothing but a name and a form. No matter what I analyze, I find it reduced to something else, which is in turn reduced to something else. I cannot say categorically of anything that it exists of its own accord. Everything is reduced to its constituent reality. The constituent reality of the table is nothing but its substance wood, which itself is reduced to particles and so on. Everything is reducible. So, we have a world whose reality is mithya. It exists but not independently. To create this mithya world, Ishvara requires some material, a mithya cause. That is Maya, the factor responsible for making the same limitless consciousness appear as Sarvajna, all knowledge. Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful. Sarva Srishtikarta, the author of this whole world. The authorship and so on belong only to what is conditioned by Maya, Brahman. That Brahman, consciousness, Atma, with reference to Maya, becomes the author of the creation. Because he is Sarvajna, he does not have doership. He knows himself. Omniscience and so on is with reference to Maya Upadhi. With reference to himself, he is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, pure consciousness. He is not ignorant of this fact. The material because of which he is called Ishvara, is Maya Upadhi, becomes the material cause for the whole world. As a material cause, Maya must undergo changes to become this variegated world and is therefore, as we have seen, Parinami Upadana Karana, a material cause that undergoes modification. Maya changes to become space, air, fire, water, earth, plants, food, a physical body, etc. The whole world is Maya. And Maya is Ishvara. Therefore, the world is Ishvara, who in reality is nothing but consciousness, Brahman. Brahman, however, does not undergo any change and is therefore, as we have seen, Vivarta Upadana Karana, something that does not undergo any change and yet makes all changes possible. From the standpoint of consciousness, Brahman is Vivarta Upadana Karana, whereas Maya is Parinami Upadana Karana. Thus, Brahman is the material and also the efficient cause for this entire world because Ishvara is nothing but Brahman. Prashant, padikiriya? Prashant.
Yeah. One second. Ishvara is aparoksha. When you talk of the entire world, you generally exclude your own body. This is the whole problem. Everything that is created has to be included. Your physical body, prana, senses, mind, and the entire subtle and gross world. You can now say everything is Ishvara and that Ishvara is nothing but Brahman. Now, between Ishvara and the world, what is the difference? There is none at all. And between Ishvara and Brahman, there is no difference. Therefore, everything is nothing but Brahman. Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahma. There is nothing else here. Neha Nana Asti Kinchana.
Yeah, basically Kalu means in fact, emphasis. Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahma means in fact only Brahman is there, there is nothing else. Neha Nana Asti Kinchana, nothing else is there. Yeah.
Right now, I as an individual am discussing this about Ishvara. And my physical body, as well as your physical body, is included in the Ishvara Upadhi. The prana sense organs, mind, intellect, memories are also included. Only Atma, consciousness, is left out. So it is very clear how Ishvara is aparoksha. When you say I am, that I is Brahman, consciousness. There is no other I. Consciousness is Brahman and Brahman is Ishvara. This entire world, including the body, mind, senses, etc., is Ishvara. And what is behind all of them is consciousness, Brahman. So everything is you. So where is Ishvara? You, consciousness, are the only Ishvara. There is no other. Everything is Ishvara and therefore everything is you. This is what we call Jiva Ishvara Abheda, the non-difference between the individual and Ishvara. Ishvara is nothing but Brahman, consciousness, and that consciousness is you. This is aparoksha. There is no paroksha Ishvara in reality. Only the person who does not have this knowledge looks upon Ishvara as paroksha. Such a person is only interested in an Ishvara who is paroksha.
That is what I was telling. The person who is interested only in an Ishvara who is paroksha is the Sthala Puranandala.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is because he or she has not understood that there is no such thing as paroksha Ishvara. Bhagavan has said, however, that even if they invoke me as paroksha Ishvara, still I will establish their Shraddha by giving appropriate results for their actions.
That is what it is. That is what the Artharthi Bhakti, Bhagavan will still, fulfill your Shraddha so that you are kept in the queue. You are not thrown out.
The hope is that one day, because of their good karma, they will also come to know Ishvara. A devotee will never go to a bad lot, whatever be his or her religion. One day, the devotee will realize the truth because good karmas have their results. However, why do they worship other devatas? Why do they seek not Ishvara directly? It is because they do not know, they do not even suspect the truth of Ishvara. In fact, they establish a theology that is against it. The theology may draw out of them certain emotional commitment that does not allow them to analyze the theology objectively. They cannot even acknowledge the possibility of knowing the Lord. If that is so, how can they recognize him as aparoksha, that is, as oneself? Instructed by Yogamaya, people do not understand the truth of the Lord and therefore do not know him. What are these obstructions? The expression Yogamaya indicates these very broadly. Now these are given in some detail in this verse. Verse 27, people are totally deluded due to delusion of the opposites. Ichcha dvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Bharata, O the one who is born in the Bharata race, Arjuna, Parantapa, O scorcher of the enemies, Sarge in this creation, Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena.
Sarge. Sarge means in this life.
Sarge in this creation, Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena, arising from desire and aversion, Dvandva Mohena, due to delusion of the opposites, Sarva Bhutani, all beings, Sammoham Yanti, go into a state of total delusion. Bharata, Arjuna, the scorcher of the enemies, all beings, due to delusion of the opposites, arising from desire and aversion, go into a state of total delusion in this creation. Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Yanti. All beings in this creation, from the beginning of creation, go to a state of total delusion. Sarge, in creation means they have this delusion even when they are born. What is that delusion and how is it caused? It's a delusion which is born of Dvandva, the opposites, Dvandva Mohena. What are those opposites and where do they come from? They arise from desire and aversion. Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena. Likes and dislikes create opposites, committed opposites, out of which moha, delusion, is born. The problem with opposites. The opposites themselves are not a problem. Heat is not a problem, nor is cold. Similarly, success or failure is not a problem. In fact, even labeling something as success indicates that there is already a problem.
Which I already explained once. Ishta, once you have that feeling of Ishta, then you invite a problem. If you look at a situation as situation is fine. If you look at a situation as Ishta, that means you always committed a value for it. And anything plus minus, you will be uncomfortable with it. So that is what the opposites means. Immediately you must be alert that it is mithya. But anyway, yeah, that is how every one of us live. That is why he is mentioning that now. Yeah.
The opposites themselves are not a problem. Heat is not a problem, nor is cold. Similarly, success or failure is not a problem. In fact, labeling something as success indicates that there is already a problem. How do you label something as a success? It is purely from the standpoint of your expectation. Suppose you are a cook and tasting the food you have prepared, you decide it as a failure. You decide it is a failure. But the person for whom you have prepared it thinks it is wonderful. You think it is failure because it is overcooked, but it is exactly the way he likes it. So is it success or failure? There's no such thing as success and failure. It is your own creation. You set arbitrary goals for yourself and then judge yourself as a success or failure. The very word success has an element of subjective judgment. So does the word failure.
So in fact, there is one thing called Bengan Bharta. I think you must have. It is nothing.
Bengan Bharta.
Bengan Bharta is nothing but a smoked, overcooked bengan. Somebody must have tried it and it must have got overcooked. What to do? He had done it, so he must have served it and the customer must have liked it. Then he must have decided from now on this is a delicious dish, Bengan Bharta. It is actually overcooked bengan. Smoky. It gives smoke, really speaking. So that is what he is trying to say. You may think that it is a bad food. But the other guy may think it's a good food. Bengan is katrika, yes. Yeah. Oh, it's all funny.
I always used to think about pizza that way, Swamiji.
Yes.
One second. These opposites are created by your own Ichcha and Dvesha. Ichcha is raga, what you want. Dvesha is what you do not want. Some opposites are created by Ishvara, like hot and cold. night and day. What you do and do not want are created only by you. Suppose you want the day to be lengthened and the night to be shortened. It is a dvandva created by you. Ishvara only created day and night. It is your likes and dislikes that make it a setup for you in terms of opposites. You want one, you do not want the other. That is what is called being caught between the horns of the opposites. You can only get caught if you have powerful likes and dislikes. Only then will you have delusion about success, failure, gain, loss, and so on. These consume your attention, keeping you busy and worried, either about the previous failure or the imminent failure. It is because you want to control everything that you have all these problems. With 2 hands and legs and 5 senses, some of which do not function well, and a mind which has a very limited information, you want to control the whole world. You cannot even control the bugs. How are you going to control the entire world? In this attempt to control, you fall under a great spell of delusion.
That's it.
Shankara says,
Right? Nothing you are saying, right?
Shankara says that
Shankara says that Icha and Dvesha themselves are the opposites, opposed to each other like heat and cold. One is the cause of pleasure, the other of sorrow. And Icha has something desirable as its object, capable of giving you pleasure. Dvesha has something undesirable, capable of giving you pain. Shankara adds in their own time, people had one set of likes and dislikes. Later, they may be different. They are connected to the individual. As they arise in one's mind, they create moha, delusion. Strong likes and dislikes control the discriminative faculty, causing a multifaceted delusion. This obstructs the rise of knowledge of the reality of Ishvara and Jiva. The Gita, all of psychology, is brought under Icha and Dvesha, and it is adequate to explain the problems. If one is able to manage one's likes and dislikes, one has the right mind for this knowledge. But this moha, born of the opposites, completely deludes people. Delusion obstructs even the desire for knowledge. Oh, you want to continue?
a delusion that obstructs even the desire for self-knowledge. Leave alone other knowledge.
Okay.
In a mind which is possessed by likes and dislikes, even correct knowledge of external objects is not possible. For instance, there was this man who was possessed by greed. To save money, he always purchased the cheapest items. Once he bought a bag of coffee for only 3 rupees, when its normal price would be 10 rupees. When he got home, he discovered that only the top half-inch was coffee, the rest was sawdust. Because of Icha, his greed, his vision was blinded. Icha dveshas also include anxiety and fear. Icha produces anxiety and dvesha produces fear. A person with fear will see a snake in every row, a thief in every post. When the likes and dislikes are powerful, they cause a variety of mental conditions, producing an inner torpor that does not allow you to see things as they are. This is moha. It is like a veil that partially blinds the intellect, and as a result, things are not seen properly. What has no value seems to have an overwhelming value. If even external objects are not very clear, you will not be able to discern between what is proper and improper. Purushartha will definitely not be clear and priorities will be confused. Where is the question of knowledge of Atma? In verses 18 and 19 of this chapter, Bhagavan had talked about Jnani, the one who knows him. Who are these people who come to know Bhagavan directly?
So what he has said, what he has done is, he has given the whole range of human frailties, right from being a Arthati Bhakti, Arti Bhakti, and also people with lot of interest in all worldly things, strong dislikes and strong likes, all this will keep your mind away from proper inquiry. Even the dharma, adharma, viveka, what is right and what is wrong, even that will get confused. In such a situation, your mind will be always on inner torpor. When that is a situation where unless you have the relative tranquility, you will not even seek tranquility. You will keep seeking things only. How to get out of this situation, how to get out of this situation, how to get out of, that will be our constant ring. We will never ask for what is this peace of mind and all that. That will be totally out of scope. That is the situation our human being can come to the rock bottom and then only perhaps after seeing for some time and he found totally nothing is working. By some grace, because of the puja and all he has done, he will totally, lot of people, pariksha, lokan, karmachitan, which I have told, no? They will totally look at the whole life differently. There is something totally wrong. Then they will do some prayer and then will go perhaps guru or something like that. Then only that's level of, the sense our delusion, our ignorance, our ichcha, dvesha, that value for opposites and greed. That is why it says, no, there is this gradation. Like kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsara. In the sense, you will start with the simple like. Then it will become a very strong like. Then it will become, if you don't get it, you get angry, krodha, kama, krodha. Then moha, in the sense, so much you get hooked to it, you will do anything. You will even transgress dharma and greed. Somehow you will try to get it. Moha, lobha. Lobha means you try to, whatever I have to cook or crook, I have to keep it. It's mine. Nobody else can take it. You will not even give a lint. Swamiji used to say, how to make a rich man poor? Go and ask him for the donation. He will not be able to give. So that means he is poor. What is the point? He is the richest. That is how it is. Moha, lobha. Then mada, matsara. In the sense, he will be confused and always jealous of others. Even if you have everything, if you have even a Maruti car, somebody else has a BMW, you will be jealous of him. So all these things will come. When such a situation, where is the question of self-inquiry or asking for tranquility will not be there. That is what he has given us graphically, what are all the frailties of human life. And that is why, then Arjuna is asking why it is happening, because of all this. That's what he is trying to say. Now he is going to tell how to get released from this delusion of opposites. That is what he will start with. I think tomorrow we will do that. Verse 28 to 30. Yeah. Om
Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate